In the Pits now has a Patreon. Whether you want to get directly involved with the show, have a product or brand you want to promote, or just want to show support, In the Pits Patreon has tiers for all levels. Head to patreon.com/inthepitspaintballpodcast to check out the supporter, sponsor, and partner tiers. Opening up a Patreon was a level I could never have imagined getting to when starting this show a year ago. And whether I get 1,000 subscriptions or not a single one, I'm still super thankful for all of the support I've received from all of you. Enjoy the episode. In the Pits is partnered with Mariachi Águilas de Oro. Based in Austin and servicing the surrounding areas, these golden eagles will bring life to any event you are having, from birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, corporate events, or even a simple performance to enjoy. Guillermo Padilla, one of their trumpet players, is also a member of the Texas paintball scene. Visit them on Facebook and Instagram to check out some of their past performances, or give them a call to book them for your event today. In the Pits is partnered with Uno's Jerky. Made right here in the state of Texas by JC Limon, Uno's has some of the best tasting jerky around, and each flavor has ties back to Texas paintball. I personally recommend the Texas Titan flavor. Head to unosjerky.com and use code PITS10, where a portion of every purchase will go back into the Texas paintball scene. In the Pits is partnered with XTPL Events. The Extreme Tournament Paintball League is a series put on by the Lukow family of Paintball Fit fame that gives the opportunity for players to learn and grow together as a team. 3-man, Challengers and Champions X-Ball, Draft Mech X-Ball, and even Youth 3v3. There's something for everyone at XTPL. Not to mention prize tosses, raffles, and the infamous paintball munching contest. Events happen throughout the year, and the prizes never disappoint. Sign up for an XTPL event today on PB Leagues. In the Pits is partnered with Hydra. Designed by players for players, you can outfit yourself in Hydra gear from head to toe. Have confidence that when you make a purchase from Hydra, you are purchasing a well-tested and well-thought-out product, trusted by several top teams, including first-place semi-pro team PaintballFit.com. I personally recommend their Hydra Black knee pads. Purchases over $100 receive free shipping. Head to hydra.fit to browse their selection and discover the Hydra mentality. In the Pits is partnered with BEM Wraps. Behind every mask is a unique and creative player. Tap into it when you order your next custom headpiece. Their Build-A-Band lets you communicate with them one-on-one to make your order just the way you want, all the way down to the color of the stitch. Check out their Instagram at BEMWraps for drops and build videos of them working on orders. They offer very competitive pricing, so reach out today to get started on your own one-of-a-kind headpiece. In the Pits is partnered with Skull Monkeys Paintball. Equip, engage, excel. In the Pits is sponsored by FU Athletics, created with a purpose and focused on building a better you. We are a brand that matters in your workout, and every purchase gives back to cancer research. Go to thefuathletics.com and use code INTHEPITS25 for 25% off of your order. In the Pits is partnered with Compete. Compete is a Texas-based brand by Jell Stewart of professional team AC Diesel that provides custom jerseys, pants, headbands, straps, tech shirts, and any other soft goods to help individuals and teams compete at the highest level. Support Texas Paintball and message Compete on Facebook or Instagram and mention In the Pits Podcast for 10% off your entire order. In the Pits is partnered with Get Dat Shot. Get Dat Shot now offers first-in-line photo and video editing, 20% off Get Dat Shot merch, and 20% off prints to all teams that wear the Get Dat Shot logo on their jersey. Message GetDat_shot on Facebook or Instagram to become a Get Dat Shot program team. In the Pits is partnered with Paintball Kumite. Paintball Kumite is a program designed by Colt Roberts of professional team San Antonio X Factor to take paintball players of all ages, experience levels, and skill groups and mold them into champions. The program breaks the game down into small, easy-to-learn sessions designed to help you master the fundamentals so that you can elevate your game. Newcomers to the program get a free 1-hour introductory class when mentioning In the Pits. To sign up for a class, message at Paintball Kumite on Instagram. Welcome, everybody, to episode 63 of In the Pits Paintball Podcast. This podcast is focused on everything that has to do with the paintball scene here in Texas, from professional players and teams to new divisional programs, local tournament series, field owners, Texas-based brands, even photographers and videographers. Every week, we will have a short and sweet episode with a new topic and a new special guest. I'm Christian Smith. I'm a player for the Texas Titans, and this episode we are going in the pits with Paul Hubert and Ty Bateman, pro players for Austin Notorious. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
Doing very well. Doing very well. How are you?
Doing good, boys. Been looking forward to this one for a while. Happy that you still remember the little guys, even though you both have made it big time now.
Dude, that's what keeps us going, Texas paintball community is strong. So Central Texas healthcare. Yeah.
For sure. All right, let's get right into it. So this question is going to be for both of you guys. So this one's brought to us by XTPL Events. For those listening that maybe don't know about you, how long have you been involved in the Texas paintball scene, and what are some teams that you've played for over the years? Let's start with Paul.
I guess we could say I played like my first APPA in like 2010, and for years before that, just kind of played on the weekends with friends. And always like never for tournaments, just really like for fun and just like kind of going out and get better. Yeah, just like balling, like having fun at the fields, like picking up paintballs and just like doing everything just to be out. It was good. And like I said, I played my first tournament in like 2010. Off and on, with a lot of teams, and I didn't really immerse myself until about 2018, and had the opportunity to play with a lot of homies in San Antonio with Plum Life. So it's kind of like a spin-off, I guess, of like the real Plums out in Oklahoma. But it was fun, it really like kind of lit that fire underneath me. And for the next year, I kind of bounced around. I played a lot of tournaments, just really like tried to put myself in every format, like playing both days of USXBL, driving to Houston, playing like 3-mans, going to Fit and playing like the weird 2-mans and 3-mans and all those formats. It's really like just try to play as much paintball as I could. And, it wasn't until about like 2019, I found my way back to Notorious, and yeah, it's just been that ever since. We all knew Markey back probably like 2012-ish, when he was on the scene, played against him, with him, like watched him grow up. Same with a lot of guys on the team. And I guess that year just kind of, everything kind of fell into place, and, it happened. So it's kind of my history. So.
Sweet. Yeah, I know you've been around for a long time, and I know especially what you said 2018, 2019, whenever you really like went into it, like seemed like you were playing at least a tournament a month, oftentimes multiple tournaments in a month. Like you probably had the most events played out of anybody in Texas for that season.
I mean, it's pretty cool. Like, there were a lot of times where like I never had the opportunity, whether it be like life stuff or family stuff coming the way. And I don't know, yeah, just really immerse myself in both feet. I tell a lot of guys like up and coming, just to constantly put yourself in those different situations and try to play as much paintball as you can, and be the freestyle king, I always say. And that playing USXBL was cool. They used to have race to D4 race to 2, like 4 formats. So some Saturdays I'd go play race to 2, occasionally D3 X ball, because it was like, not on APPA, and then the next day go play D4 X ball, So those kind of weekends were a lot of paintball, but it was really fun, and do that like 2 seasons in a row, like really get you sharp,
Definitely. That's a hell of a way to put your nose to the grindstone, right? So let's go over to Ty. So Ty, same question to you. How long have you been playing in Texas, and who are some of the teams that you played for?
I've probably played in the scene for probably 12, 13, 14 years at this point. Probably about 14. Yeah.
You played longer than me, man.
Yeah, I've been playing quite a while. Took a few breaks here and there. Paul brought me back in the last time to play for Notorious, so that ended up being a good run. Ended up pro, so not too bad. But some of the teams I played for, I actually started playing scenarios initially for the first few years, maybe like a year or two of my paintball experience, and then probably just practice for a while. Didn't play any tournaments. I actually played my first tournament with Marky. It was like a D5 3-man. So that was we won that. It was pretty fun. It was my first paintball tournament experience, although I'd been playing for a while. So played with pretty much Notorious was my first team and real organization for sure. I've had brief stints with some other teams. I played on Diesel for an event. Played with Elite, which was a semi-pro team that just kind of came out of nowhere. Played with a few other teams. Played with X Factor for 2015-16 season. So I had a rookie pro season then. Kind of had some real life stuff happen. Take a break after that. Come back for a little bit. So it's pretty much the main history of it. Most teams I've played for. It's always pretty much destined to come back to Notorious, I feel.
For sure. And I see y'all, there's a lot of those teams that you played for in the background there. I see you came with a lot of jerseys for show and tell. Can y'all maybe scoot over a little bit? Let's see the full collection back there.
I got a TV in the way, unfortunately, but it's got some Notorious jerseys. I got some friends and family members jerseys up there. A lot of Notorious jerseys. I got some that I still need to put up. I got a Hurricanes jersey and some other jerseys I've swapped with some people recently. So need to expand it quite a bit, but figured something's better than nothing, So
it's a slippery slope when you start collecting these things.
For sure. Yeah, no, I know all about that. Yeah, my paintball closet is very, very full right now. So, this next question is brought to us by Skull Monkeys Paintball. It's going to be for both of you guys. So tell us, what was it that got you into paintball in the first place? Let's start with Ty on this one.
So it's kind of a combination of the regular, birthday party story. And actually, I had an older brother who played airsoft and paintball a little bit. And I think we watched it on ESPN as well. And I always thought, it was real neat watching all those guys, Dynasty and Excessive, and all those guys run out there and play on ESPN. So that kind of a few years later, I just kind of had a hankering. I was like, hey, I really want to do something fun. Let's go play paintball. It was a friend's birthday party. He's like, hey, I want to play paintball too. And so that was really the start of it. I think it was near one of my birthdays too. So I bought a gun. I had my parents buy me one for my birthday, and that was pretty much the end of it from there. Slippery slope.
Dude, the bug bite is so strong. Once you get it, there's almost nothing you can do to get back out. And even if you take breaks, never can fully quit. It's just taking break for a little bit here and there, and then you just get right back in. All right, so Paul, what was it that got you in?
I was exposed to paintball pretty young, but I didn't really get into it until a lot later in life. But it's a culmination of a lot of things. Just the people generally, all the friendships I've made and stuff over the years have just been priceless, wouldn't trade it for anything. And just a lot of things on myself, I have some regrets. I didn't pursue baseball as younger, and I didn't want paintball to be another regret of something. Put a lot of effort into and try to make something of it, because it's been such a big part of my life. And so I don't know, just kind of like to prove it to myself and the people around me. And that's just kind of been a big driving force and why I play. I hope I didn't steer off too much.
No, you're good. No, for sure. That's everybody kind of gets their start in one way or another, but like you said, with the relationships with others, that's what keeps us all in there. And I think that's the thing that keeps us coming back after we've taken these breaks, is the the connections with people and how
And just and a lot of things in paintball like are hard to like find in like a lot of day-to-day life things, just like the competitiveness or like the camaraderie, especially in like the kind of society we live in, nowadays. And it's just like I don't know, a lot of that stuff's unmatched, and just I don't know, paintball is able to like provide that. It's really cool.
Definitely. It's a lot of the things that JD Lukow was saying last week was paintball is life. Life is paintball. And a lot of the things within paintball and the things that paintball teaches you are skills that that you use like kind of outside in the real world and help to make you just a better person, and even like finding a lot of success in your personal life and your career, things like that.
For sure. Like all the character lessons, and it's just like, I always joke around too, it teaches you to be a good loser, because you're going to do a lot more losing than winning, but it's just about being resilient and like keep going.
For sure. So this question is for both of you guys, and it's brought to us by Pod Runners Union. So what are some things over the years that you've noticed within the Texas scene that has changed over time, either for better or for worse? Paul, let's go with you on this one.
I think overall it's just nothing but like positives. You take a look back, like maybe in like the early like 2010s, like just like X-ball teams, like competitive, like, D2, D3, D4 teams weren't really around. And I just feel like the scene just kind of in that time, like really took some dips. And maybe like after, like maybe like when NXL came out, after PSP fell and like restructured, I feel like it really has like gone up, Remember PB Nation posted an article like in 2019 about that one being like, so like a 19% like increase, just overall like people attending and things like that, which I thought was like really cool.
I think a lot of it too has something to do with like the more availability of fields to play at. There's just more fields to cater to players, and the player base has grown because of that. And so you have like Outlaw, our home field, and you got like fields like Bid and X Factor, of course, that like have their own groups of teams and things like that, and they all get to play in the local tournaments and just make themselves better. It's kind of like just a vacuum where just people, really good players, fight amongst themselves constantly to create the strongest ones. And I think that really lends to like Texas being kind of like a paintball mecca, which is, what people like Matty Marshall and stuff have said time and time again. And I think it's really the truth. I think Texas is really growing into that.
Definitely.
From like Austin, San Antonio, that little stretch, and Houston, all that, it's crazy. With the way things are going, like, Fit is going to, get the pro spot. There'll be 5 pro Texas teams next year.
Yeah. Plus, it's
it says a lot.
It's only getting hotter, so it's like it really molds you. When you get late in those tournaments and the fatigue sets in, and you've dealt with 105-degree heat on practice weekends every weekend, it's like it makes you, breaks you. It's and the availability of practice too down here. Some states people live in, it's snows a lot of time of the year. Weather's just bad. They can't practice, or they got to do alternatives like indoors. So it's not as productive as like being down here in the Texas weather is.
For sure. Yeah. There's no off season in Texas, right? We're playing 12 months out of the year. We've got tournaments in December and January. Like there's ain't no stopping paintball here in Texas. And with the thing about the fields, like if you look 10 years ago, how many of the fields that are thriving right now were even around? Like very few. You've got X Factor was around. I think maybe a field or two in Houston. I'm not so familiar over there. I'm sure Zone was around.
Yeah, there's Legends, Zone, yeah.
Then maybe Cousins, but other than that, like Paintball Fit wasn't started until 2016. DFW Adventure Park and Fun on the Run were around, but that's like 3 or 4 fields, like tournament fields in Texas, and then maybe paintball nights in there as well. But now there's like at least 10 like solid tournament fields all over Texas, like multiples in the same city. Like in Houston, you've got Zone, you've got Splat, who just completed. They've got the indoor field, and now they've got the outdoor field. You've got Wasteland in North Houston. Obviously, Paintball Fit's absolute juggernaut up in the DFW area. And Outlaw has been pretty solid rock, kind of in the middle of all of it. Elite Paintball over in Lubbock, and then of course everything going on in the Valley as well. It's like it's not just like 2 or 3. It's not just like San Antonio, Houston, Dallas anymore. Now it's like, well, Austin's on the map, Lubbock's on the map, the Valley's on the map. You got to think about all these places, and you got to respect all of them.
For sure, yeah, definitely. And they always have teams that show up at USXBL. You know, it's just, I'd say it's definitely one of like the, you know, arguably best like you know, divisional series, you know, in the country. I think, as far as like all the teams that come up under these Texas Pro teams, and just, you know,
For
a lot
sure.
of good teams.
And like even at the tournaments within Texas, it's not like, as of recently, I'd say the last 3 to 5 years, it's been a little bit more back and forth as far as like which region is on top. Like this, I think the last USXBL Elite one out of Lubbock. At the last Bunker Fest event, I want to say like Balls Out got first or second place, and then Houston Zone's up there. Austin Hypnotic is usually good for a win every year.
Mhm.
Like it's like teams from all over the place. The Dragoons have been, I think they got back-to-back third places at the start of the year in USXBL. Texas Titans have been securing wins. Like, and then of course the teams up at Fit, like Greed's been winning in Division 3 and Bunkerfest, like teams from all over the place, and it's really spread out and it's super competitive.
For sure.
All right, so Ty, same question to you. What are some things that you've noticed have changed over the years?
I think, you know, most of the same. I think it's kind of just like the diversity has grown a little bit, and you know there's a lot of divisional teams and a lot of different programs that people could choose from if you're new on the scene, and there's just a lot of places to go as far as fields go and as far as programs go as well. You know, it's just, I think it really is a good place to be if you want to be a good paintball player. I think you can really jump up ranks pretty quickly if that's what you want to do, or get a really solid foundation and go from there. So I think things have just gotten better through the years, and I think Texas is, like I said, solidified itself as kind of like paintball mecca.
Definitely. And I love how you put it was paintball programs, not just teams or paintball lines. It's whole bottom to top programs.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah, because there's more
springing
to
up
it,
everywhere.
you know. Yeah, the structure trickles down is kind of what we've found out, kind of, especially, you know, if you have the opportunity to have like a pro team at the top of your program, you get a lot of that discipline and a lot of, you know, just things you pick up subtly through watching them and figuring out, you know, like for instance, watching them lose or watching them win, you know, like being humble about it, or, you know, just the skills as well that you pick up. So,
Yep, there's a lot of programs around now, and a lot of like in a lot of different areas. And the cool thing about the programs is that a lot of them now, like what I've been calling the arms race within Texas, the programs help not only like kind of teach you correctly, instead of like kind of back like maybe 7, 8, 10 years ago where you first start out in D5, you're pretty much just trying to figure it out all on your own. Now you've got guys surrounding you from bottom to top that are helping you learn the ropes in a more structured way. And that's going to help like kind of bring you success faster. But also the programs are you're noticing a lot more Texas pro players being connected to these programs. Like in San Antonio, you've got Colt Roberts and Jesse Stevens coaching the teams out there. In Houston, you've got Devin Stewart. In Austin, you've got you guys and also Nico Hyde with the Hypnotic program. Up in Dallas, you've got the Diesel guys. You've got PB Fit that are helping out teams like TKO, Greed, all of them. So the arms race is real because everybody's like trying to secure any resource that they can to help themselves go to the top, and that's why it's so like. It's so tough in Texas versus if you're going to go play NXL, it's like, oh, this is it. Like you can make a playoff bracket in NXL entirely with Texas teams nowadays.
it's a war escalation, that's for sure. Yeah, it's just the Thunderdome out there. Just teams going at it.
Definitely. All right. So this next question, actually, before we get to the next question, just want to highlight some things that are being said in the chat here. Dan Shelley's in here. Brandon Ortega from Bem Raps. Chris Isaacs asks, he says, all I want to know is, Paul, are you going to sell the Geo?
I'll get back to him. It's fine.
You called it.
Conflicted. I saw his message. No, busy with work.
Yeah, I'll get back to you.
I'll think on it. I'd really rather sell it, but got too many guns. So I mean, if you got a good offer, but just hit me up
for sure. Pat Rayborn in the chat says hello.
Pat.
Yeah. Dan Shelley says he's proud of Paul. First he's getting on social media. Now you're getting on podcasts.
I know. I'm really introverted, so it is new for me, So it's cool. Fine.
How long have you had the Instagram now? Is it what, 3 months?
I made it right before Philly, So yeah, I guess something like that.
Sweet, yeah. And then Kayla Smith in the
Strictly
chat.
paintball. Huh?
Kayla Smith in the chat says, I don't know these guys, but they seem super cool.
You're all right.
Sasha in the chat, he says, question for Paul. Where did you get all of these paintball guns, and why is the Spider Pilot ACS the most badass in your collection?
I know, I got some more coming, but
collection is deep. The gloves goes back quite far.
I don't know. I mean, it's just a collection.
Takes a while.
One thing after one of them. It's never just one. And I don't know. There's just been some cool guns that I've come across. A lot of the older guns, new guns. Just pick up and play.
It's many hours of scouring PB Nation and just lesser known forums of paintball pleasures and doing stuff for guns.
So yeah, I mean, it's just a collection I've built. I don't know. I don't really know much more to put on that.
I love how you're responding to Chris Isaacs. You said, yeah, I got my collection's too big. I need to sell some. And then 2 sentences later, I've got more on the way. That's that.
Well, I mean, I have a few that Sasha some other ones that he'll work on, but I do need to sell some.
Yeah, do be like that for sure. All right. So this question is just for Paul. So Paul, even as recent as May of 2021, so just over 2 years ago, you were playing in D4 with Notorious in the USXBL. And once you finally made the jump out of D4, the climb to the pro division went pretty quick. So how was the whole pacing of it all to you? And what do you think was the key catalyst to kind of unleash your journey to the top?
I don't know, just so many factors come into play. So I mean just first the group of guys, you look at everyone kind of on the team. We've all grown up Central Texas, paintball players, with 8 to 10 years, roughly everybody, all the original guys, Brandon, Marky, Jared's been playing a long time. Alex has been playing a really long time. Yeah. And just, I don't know, everyone on the team, just just great people, that you want to surround yourself with, on and off the field, that, just good people that you really care about, So I mean, it just makes a world of difference, when you're going into battle with people like that, just tears you apart when you see your boys getting shot out, it's just, that level of camaraderie and care, I don't know, just a lot of things. It just felt so organic, you find a group of guys you buy in with, and and it's been just something that we've talked about for years, when Ty was on X Factor, other teams, Lee, when we were all doing things. Mark was on Grit, played on Ruthless. We all, I don't know, just felt, I don't know, just making a team, I don't know, Notorious again, with the boys, and just giving it a shot and going. It just, I don't know, it just all fell into place,
And it's something we always talked about too. We spent many hours just sitting in a dark room, watching Dirter videos, talking about taking Notorious pro.
Yeah, just in a dark room, before high school, just every morning, just hanging out, watching Durder, like just stuff like that. The little things, just banging like Durder music. But I don't know, just a lot of things. I don't know. I could say a lot to it, it's just it's really cool, like how it all
It's
came
cool.
together.
I think it's cool just like taking some guys that you've been battling with and against, That's one thing because you play some people and you're like, dang, like I'm glad that motherfucker's on my team now, because he's always been a problem for us and now he's with us. And you take some people like that and then we've added some really good pieces to that as well with like Harris and Archie and Mike and just adding players to that and rounding it out, and like achieving the goal with that. It's phenomenal.
And then to have like talent too, has been just a blessing on its own, just all the knowledge, and like belief he has in us, I think he has more faith in me than I do myself sometimes, and it's just, I really appreciate it,
Absolutely. So this question is just for Ty. This question is also brought to us by BEMRAP. So Ty, your journey, like you have previous experience in the pro division, so your journey has been more of a return since you did play with San Antonio X Factor in the 2016 season. So do you think, thinking back to that season, do you think that at the time you were truly ready to play pro? And then what were some things that you took away from being on X Factor?
So to answer the first question, I don't think truly where I was at in my life, like, personally, as well as I think physically I was pretty good at paintball, but like the mental aspect of it, especially at that level, is really, really difficult to, maintain and achieve. And it's really just a mental game at that level. So at the time, being as young as I was, and this is where I was at in my life, I don't think I was ready for it personally, but I did take away a lot from it. I'm super, thankful to have the experience. It was super great. Alex Martinez is a great mentor. Love playing for him. He's phenomenal. Nothing good things to say about him. He's a legend. And all the players on the team as well. Like it was just an honor playing with him, being around people that I idolized since I was, probably like 12 years old. Seeing him in magazines and having friends who had their old gear would always, speak so highly of them. And I was like, fuck yeah, I want to play on that team when when the time comes. And I think sometimes you got to make those hard mistakes and rush and grab things and sometimes fall and get back up. And that's essentially what happened. Without Paul, essentially, I wouldn't probably have came back and played again. And, started back at D2 and won the D2 season, the semi-pro season, the pro spot with boys. So I think it means a lot playing with, like your best friend as well as like a lot of people that you've always played with. So I learned a lot from it, as well as like, how to hold yourself, what's expected of you as a pro player, not to embarrass yourself and, to treat your body right and to, work on your drills, but also study film and study the mental aspect of the game. Because like I said, everybody at that pro level is very physically gifted and they could all do amazing things with the gun. It's just trying to outsmart them or trying to, get around them or basically just outsmart them. Yeah. So that's what I learned. I learned a lot on X Factor. It's like a lot, and some of it's hard to put into words, but it's a great experience.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about the organization, and there's a reason why X Factor is still around after almost 2 decades now of being a professional team.
Well.
Yeah, they're I think they're currently in second place, and so they're like just consistently on the very top, consistently relevant. So like and to be doing it for as long as they have, just means that they've structurally they've set everything up as it should be, and they're got all their bases checked off. And I think it trickles down to the rest of the teams that play out of that area. Like I know for myself and for the other divisional teams that are practicing at X Factor pretty consistently, like we know that guys like Alex Martinez are absolutely massive to the scene, to the league, to the sport as a whole.
Yeah, and they've contributed a lot to like our identity as a team and a lot of our players, because I've always practiced at the field before X Factor was maximum, and the corners were gravel and you used to like really hurt yourself going out there. It was a great time.
Yeah, that was the days.
Really made you, like a player and real rugged. So like it just being around the team and being at that team's, fields growing up really like kind of shaped us as players as well as many other people on the team, obviously, so.
For sure. So this next question is for both of you guys, and it's brought to us by Mariachi Aguilas de Oro. So 2 seasons ago, Austin Notorious brought on Ryan Gray to be the head coach, starting with the 2021 Virginia Invitational. So tell me, what has it been like to get the opportunity to play under Ryan Gray?
Who are you asking first?
Let's go with you, Paul.
I mean, like I said kind of earlier, like it's been a blessing. I think for Virginia was really something because I feel like for a while Mark was kind of talking to Ryan, looking for a coach, to kind of like make this all happen, find someone that would coach us. And I feel like he kind of talked to Ryan for maybe about a year, year and a half before, and just talk, like nothing serious. And I think, when we had that opportunity, Ryan just kind of, came out, like kind of no expectations.
I feel like Virginia was kind of the tester for him.
Yeah, just to kind of see where we stood as a group and, if it was worth it, whatever. But sure enough, I mean, just I don't know, just how Virginia played out, is unexpected for everyone. And, just really like showed a lot about, the guys that were there and, what we wanted to do. So I think ever since that point, had some faith in us and it was like, shoot, let's do this thing. And, I mean, I feel like in the last 2 years, there's definitely been some times where we've really let him down. Like there's been some times where we've really surprised him too. And, those times sucked to go through, but, I like to think we're a little bit better on the other side. So, but I mean, it's been a movie, it's just been absolutely crazy, the last 2 years to get to this point,
Definitely. Ty, how about you? How's it been playing under Ryan?
It's been an honor, honestly, like playing for a coach who's got such like a storied history, and especially in the Texas scene, and just being a Texas legend, and in the way he employs good discipline, and really expects a lot out of us sometimes, and like a little bit like Paul said, kind of we really test his patience sometimes, and then like right in the nick of time we'll pull something out and really give him that moment, and I feel like it really raised the blood. The adrenaline is good, I really like get a kick out of that a little bit. We could be a little more consistent, I think that's what we'll work on, and that's what we'll learn in time. It's a patient game, and it's about the accumulation, and it's about taking all those skills that you learn over time and making sure you don't lose any of that, and employing more. So plan for Ryan has been really great, and I think it's been an honor. I think a lot of this wouldn't probably have been possible without him. It's really pretty much giving me a lot less to worry about as a player, other than like game plans and trying to play the game better. So that personally has helped me out a lot, and it's just been great, honestly.
I know back last year, right after World Cup, his speech after y'all's first match went a little bit viral, and I thought it was really cool insight to see, like, just at what level of expectation that you need to hold yourself to at that level, and how coaches, like really effective coaches like him, are able to pull that out of their players while at the same time, like not like, managing emotions and things like that, where you're not just gonna, get them down and not able to like get them in their own heads, things like that. He's just expecting the most out of you, but also like kind of inspiring you at the same time. And it's obvious that he's been able to do that to a very high level with you guys.
For sure. I mean, bottom line, events are like real expensive, and just like if you like Cub, if you're not going to go with like a prepared competitive team, I mean, it's a waste. It's like don't want to waste like anyone's time. I mean, yeah, we might have like got a little nearsighted, dropping the game, but it was that like wake up call that we needed.
For sure.
And we won like that. I mean, it's a weird style. Like, I mean, we might come out and drop like the easy first game, but when we're on our heels, like we're a team.
A little ballistic, they say.
I'd say I like playing divisional teams. There's been a lot of games where we've dug ourselves a hole, and I'd say 8 out of 10 of those games we were able to pull ourselves out. That says a lot about like our team and like style. Just when we're put in a corner. So
right,
just being a little more consistent, coming off the gate hot.
And that's the hardest thing in paintball is consistency, like both on the field, off the field, and business and practice regimen, like anything. Like you see all the time, players coming in and out, teams having issues, even like companies maybe having issues here and there with consistency in their product or whatever the case may be. Consistency is like the toughest thing that I personally think to be able to master within the game of paintball.
No, I agree. There's so many just variables and factors that can, moving parts that can just
go. As soon as you remove all those little things, like having batteries, having waters, having all that stuff. As soon as you remove all that, and allows you to focus on the game a lot more, it really helps out.
For sure. So this next question is brought to us by Paintball Kumite. And either of you guys can answer this one. So tell us, how has your workload and your level of preparation changed since making the jump out of lower divisionals? And even like, what's the difference between lower divisionals and Division 2? And then like even the difference between that and semi-pro, and then semi-pro and now in the pro division? So either of you can take it. Doesn't matter to me.
I'll say from like my opinion, I guess from what I've seen, and I'll still a little bit like from coach, about like his D2, but I think D3 is like pretty stacked. You got a lot of like consistent, like pretty good team playing paintball player, teams that play good team paintball in D3. I feel like it's definitely pretty stacked. A lot of competitive teams. D2 pretty good, but I think take it from coach, but it's pretty like diluted. I feel like a big gap from like the top 4, top pack teams compared to like everyone else, And I feel like a lot of those D3, really good D4 teams compete in that, if they have like the right guidance and stuff like that, as like coaching, organization, things like that. And I don't know, semi-pro. I feel like there's a lot of dogs in semi-pro right now. I mean, obviously you got a couple top of the pack, fit.
Pretty locked up there. But.
Yeah, I think for maybe like the next season or two, I'd put money on Blast Camp after. If they don't pull it off next year, that's kind of sad. But I'd put money on them. And the other teams nipping at their heels are pretty good too. So, I mean, I just for like any team, I just think the best thing is like just jumping in the fire, and like getting up to speed, like getting acclimated, like playing against those teams, first event or so might be pretty rough, learning that, that pace. But, I mean, once you do, and you are exposed to it, really like makes a difference in like you're playing. And, when you go out and play those teams and, have good matches, pull stuff out, like, you can do it as a team. So I don't know, just kind of like that. That's kind of my opinion on divisions as far as like what I see.
Gotcha. Ty, you got anything to add to that?
So as far as like the workload while the divisions like escalate and stuff like that, I feel like, when you're in the low divisions and stuff like that, you can work on your mechanics and stuff, but it's really like a communication game once you get past like D2. Communication and like the gelling of your teammates and stuff like that. I'd say to add probably Division 3 and Division 2 aren't as stacked as probably like, obviously the semi-pro division would be. But I feel like there's still some good, especially locally. There's a lot of good talent in the D3 and D4, especially locally. I know it's probably that way in other areas as well. Are just waiting to get picked up and just get picked apart by the higher division teams. And so, especially with restructuring, when some of those other teams restructure, we'll have a better chance. But I think it kind of like D2's probably one of the easier divisions, as weird as that sounds. I think there's just a lot of teams in D3 and D4, and there's some pretty good semi-pro teams too. So that's kind of how I feel about it.
Interesting. Yeah, I know that there's quite a few teams out there that once they leave D3, they skip Division 2 entirely and they go straight to semi-pro. That's true for even teams here like the Texas Cyclones. They had that really successful season in Division 3. I think they ended up getting first or second place for the series last year, and they made the jump to semi-pro. And not too uncommon of a story there.
I like and respect those guys a lot, but I think they should have probably played D2. I mean, it's like it's a good experience, and it's not something you're ever gonna get as a,
Yeah.
You can't ever go backwards, and I don't know, when we did it, like, you take that step. I don't know.
Yeah, for me personally too, I appreciate coming back down to D2 because I knew I still had to knock the rust off coming back from not playing for a while. Get my gun skills and everything back on point, which took a little while, but the communication was the main thing I wanted to work on. The communication and the teamwork was the main thing I felt like I lacked when I played with X Factor. So I really wanted to, kind of start over and work my way back up while focusing on those kind of things. And I think that's helped me as a player kind of immensely,
Definitely. And you need to be just heavily invested in paintball, I think. If you play like semi-pro, it's just like, like you're going to take some whoopings and stuff, and you're going to have those nights where you're being like why you do this, and all this, and I don't know, like you just really got to be into it, but it's a journey, you take those bad tournaments as lessons and things you can like reach back on, some of those little things like drive you crazy, like keep you up at night, before events, and like you could have done a point a little bit different, those things, and like I said, just reach back and touch on it, and you learn from it.
Yeah, the margin for error is very, very small in paintball when you're only playing like probably on average of 6 or 7 points a match. That's not too many spins there compared to other sports where like, hey, our match time is like somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes. In other sports, it's like, hey, you've got an hour on the field, or maybe multiple hours when you include all the break time and all that. And there's a lot of wiggle room for mistakes and adjustments and things like that. Paintball doesn't have that. It's such a brutal like cut where you have to come out firing. Otherwise, the catch-up game is very difficult to come back through.
For sure.
So this next question, I'm looking at the chat right here. We got Jared Sherman in the chat.
Shermanator.
Jared.
Yeah.
Herb.
So his question for both of you guys, going back to talking about Ryan Gray, he says, what makes Ryan Gray such a good coach, and how have each of you become a better player due to his influence?
I mean, I guess some people could argue he's like, he can be he's pretty blunt. I mean, he doesn't sugarcoat anything by any means, He can be really hard on you sometimes. But, I mean, for me personally, I mean, yeah, it could be, like, tough. But, I mean, at the end of the day, like, he just wants you to be, like, the best that you can be. Like, pull it out of you, and, like, hold you accountable. And,
I think accountability is one of the main things.
Probably. And it's just, it really does, like, me personally, it's made me into a better person. It's something that, like, I appreciate and am thankful for, I mean, there are a lot of hard days. I mean, sometimes at practice, I'm the one that gets chewed out the most, and make mistakes, it happens. But, just like learn from it, get through it, and I don't know, just all the paintball IQ, like being exposed to, and just like growing up, I've been around the scene a lot, and I mean, things family things and stuff come up, and I've missed opportunities playing with other teams and making these, runs. And I don't know, I give a lot to like Ron, for like having faith in me and believing in me, like pushing me, in those times. And I don't know, it's just like things I'm grateful for, over the last 3 years. So hopefully that answers your question, Jared.
Yeah, I would say if it's my turn on the subject, I'd say it kind of reminds me of like a driven coach sometimes, like he's really going to drive you and really going to push you, but makes you better and stronger at the end of the day. And I feel like the accountability is one thing, and just things I feel like he expects me to know as a pro player sometimes that I don't know, that forces me to learn those things, has been important for me as well. And like holding myself to a higher standard, I think has been another thing. And, like I said, it improves your personal life as well as your paintball career. Jared Sherman.
Thanks for that, Jared. So next question is brought to us by Uno's Jerky. So let's talk about, speaking of, Ryan Gray and the speech from Cup after y'all's first match. Let's talk about Cup from last year. So that event was obviously a lot going on. You had the hurricane that canceled the first day of play, and the whole schedule had to be redone. You had players and teams not making it in because of canceled flights and things like that.
Oliver Lang's second coming.
We actually called that hurricane in. It was a huge favor.
Yeah, Paul knows. I-35 All-Stars know hurricane's a home field advantage for us.
He knows the guy, yeah.
No, that was a good one. We played in like hurricane weathers in Houston, and it was just like, it was nasty.
Memorable, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was fun.
Let's speak out.
Yeah. So that event, it all came down to the finals against Fit, which was a winner take all situation. Winner gets the pro spot, and you guys, you absolutely put on a show and dominated when it mattered the most. So just kind of walk me through, what was that roller coaster like for you guys?
I don't know, man. It was like a movie, like just how everything broke down, just, it was really cool, like despite the odds. We love Archie and Mike, but it's like to hear like other people from Chicago did so good because of them, it's like, damn, like, just totally discredited like the rest of the team. Yeah, and it's like on picking up Ivan. We all love Ivan. Like he was such a good fit.
Ivan's
like
awesome.
Ivan's yeah. So it was really cool. He just came in and filled that spot. Great. Such a good team player. Like good dude. Like all across the board.
And fought like a madman.
We went bowling in Louisiana. I think that had something to do too.
Yeah. Bowling team bonding.
Jared had some like hot fries, and like we all had like World Cup hot fries, and I don't know, just everything, man. Every little moment that like went into it, like just added to the trip. We saw a lot of good friends at Cup that we haven't seen in a long time, like David Deaton, boy Eddie Ortiz, and
Ortiz, David Deaton.
And then just like how the event broke down too. We slayed some like titans in a sense. We lost to like one of the worst teams, unfortunately, and as like the first match, and just and that kind of set things off. And then battered our way through prelims, and it was cool because on Sunday we played A team, and in the semis, and they kind of had our number like all year. We shit the bed in Dallas. Had some like team issues, and they I think they mercy ruled us like 5-0 like first game, and like it really sucked. And Chicago was different. We played them second match Sunday, and it really sucked. That was our second time playing them, and they were up like 3-1, or we were up 3-1, and we let them come back and tie and beat us in overtime. And that was really like deflating. Yeah.
Think about that one.
And so they were just kind of like our Titan a little bit, playing in like the semis and just completely just own that game was like really cool. I think everyone kind of played with like a chip on their shoulder. Their guys were coming over being like we were playing this blind spot and like never getting shot, and played y'all and shot like. We played with a lot of like conviction. That game.
By that match, it felt like we were in the trenches, we were in the tournament. So it was real. Like there's no more warmed up excuses like, oh, slow start. There's none of that. It was like do or die. Like, we got to beat these guys. We got to move on, beat the next guy, and beat the next guy, and then win it. You know, it was really surreal.
And then to see it like come down to just like a final like Texas showdown for like
That was good.
you know for the finals. I don't know, crazy, and how it broke down.
Kind of like a win-win. You know, it's like
he played out of his mind. I'd say like he played so good Sunday. I mean, everyone part
from everyone, just like, even every pit. You know, shots calling Eden.
You know, just everyone that was there that made it. Just, you know, and played fit in the finals and. Just to come out the way we did, like, just said a lot. Like, you know, like I said, it was like a movie. You know, it was like some storybook stuff. You know, like beat them by 1 point.
Kind of like still didn't really believe it after we won. You know, seeing Ivan like fall to his knees and start crying on the finals field, and like people start throwing stuff and jumping up and down. And I didn't even react because like I still hadn't set in yet fully. You know, it was a glorious moment. That and, like Virginia is definitely 2 favorite tournaments a year. Like. Pretty much the start to this run from like D2 to to turning pro. So it's 2 of my favorite tournaments.
Definitely, and I wonder like how much like more fire did you play with after you after Blast Camp didn't make it out of the prelims, and it was like, oh, this spot's up, like there's a shot here.
You know,
it shoveled some coal on the fire for sure.
I had a little bit of doubt. I heard like both sides as we were going, and then when you came out with the calculator, like we got a chance, you know, and I don't know, it was really cool.
Numbers don't lie.
Coming through, yeah. So it was very surreal.
Shout out to Christian Smith.
Appreciate. Did y'all? So did y'all? Because I know when I was talking to Jared, like he was saying that he wasn't like fully aware that y'all had earned the pro spot until like.
No, I don't think. I mean, I wasn't fully aware that I was kind of like a fuck around to find out situation.
I couldn't believe it. Well, kind of, you know.
And I still didn't want to believe it. I wanted to like hear from somebody for sure, and before I started celebrating for that. But like World Cup enough was pretty good. Like that was Ryan's first World Cup, a lot of our first World Cups. You know, it was just glorious in of itself. But just like adding the pro spot on top of that was great.
Oh, that's that's definitely, y'all picked a good stage to really leave it all out there on the field for, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So this next question is going to be for both of you guys. It's brought to us by my buddy Thomas on the Titans, his brand FU Athletics. Go to thefuathletics.com, use code inthepits25 for 25% off of your order. So for both of you, through all of these, through your careers, all of these moments that you've had, do you have a single favorite moment in your career? Let's start with Ty.
So I touched on this a minute ago, but it's probably been World Cup so far, you know, but like also the moment of getting to the first pro event with all the boys and, you know, like taking pictures and getting all the gear and doing all that stuff was really phenomenal too. That was pretty much like when you know, like shit's real, you know, you better start performing, you know, that. And I'd say if I had to say Virginia World Cup, and then that being probably the number one moment. What showing up and like, that's when you know everything's really real. You know, you show up for your first pro event, and you know, like practice pro team like right off the bat, which we've been doing, but it's a little bit different, you know. Yeah, and then showing up and knowing like I think we thrive as the underdog. So being the 20th pro team right when you show up, it's just like right where we're meant to start out again, you know. So I think that was probably number one for me, was showing up to the first pro event.
I mean, I gotta say those are pretty like two like profound moments. You know, the Cup, World Cup, sharing it with them, and in Virginia, you know how it broke down. I mean, there are a ton of like local divisional tournaments, fun, and playing with a lot of like guys. They're still playing, in lower divisions with like all the homies and stuff. You know, those are priceless, and I don't know. It's been fun. All those.
It's hard to pick just one, right?
I mean, it's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like asking me what my favorite food is.
That's tough, but that's what paintball is all about, is making those moments, and definitely a lot to choose from.
For sure.
All right, y'all. So this next question is brought to us by Hydra. So on your journeys, who have been some of the individuals that have helped you out along the way?
I'll go first on this one. I think my parents have helped me out a lot, taking me to practice when I was younger, and without them probably start being able to start that young, I think is, you can't replace something like that. Just growing up with the body language of the gun and playing is phenomenal. So probably first with parents, and then I'd say Mark Franz, owner of Austin Notorious, Alabama Prime Tickets. He's always helped me a lot in my paintball career and done a lot for me. And Alex Martinez as well has helped me out a lot. And I'd say a lot of members of X Factor, I looked up to growing up, and how professional they've been has kind of shaped me as a player as well. So I'm gonna say that's my answer.
How about you, Paul? Who have been some of the people that have helped you out along the way?
Growing up, I would say a lot of I could name like a couple off the top of my head. Say Mikey Villarreal. He's been a big influence in my paintball career. Ever since day one. Playing at
Super Void, Maximum,
old Maximum,
Realm,
like all the Void kids, and some of the X Factor guys, like the D2 guys, was more closer with. Didn't really know the X Factor guys until later, but a lot of those guys too. Derek Jordan was always one of my favorite players, just on and off the field.
Just turns up on the wall.
They got two of them, so real proud of those. And a couple of the X Factor guys. Playing with Mike Hell's, really cool. He's a good person, good dad, someone to aspire to, and it's pretty cool having Mike. And I would say at Old Maximum there was a guy named Sidney Ying. He was a Vietnamese guy, and he it's Chinese. I'm sorry, it's Chinese. He worked at the field, and I don't know. He's just a really good guy that showed me a lot of love, in some rough times. It was my second or third time meeting him, and I couldn't afford to get to spend $180 on a Noid right then and there, and he just gave me a new one and was like, "Don't worry about it, just go out and play." Just being some high school kid, so much,
Yep.
and it's just
Absolutely.
Something like that, just will stick with you the rest of your life, and just a gesture like that. And so I don't know, he was always a big impact, and it was really hard on me and a lot of people there that when he passed away. And me and him always salute the field, and I don't know, just those guys, a lot of the guys I'm playing with keep me motivated and going. So, and then Mark Franz as well. He's been there and always helped me out. In tough times. Kept me playing. So thankful for all that.
For sure. And I love how big the list is for both of you. And that's just, I think, a product of what.
And there's a lot of other people far in between.
Yeah, there's been
there's so many.
Paintball incredibly supportive and wide, far-reaching. So
and that's something that keeps me going, because with paintball, it's expensive. The politics kind of rub me the wrong way sometimes, and things like that, and all that. But it's just at the end of the day, it's you do it for the people around you, and day ones and stuff like that. It really keeps me motivated and going.
There's a lot of them.
And there's a lot of them.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think just there's so many individuals out there in paintball, and even more so within the Texas scene. There's so many great guys out there, guys and girls that are really trying to help those around them, help them succeed, help build them up, and that's why Texas is where it is right now. That's why it's the Mecca, and that's why it will continue to be on top.
For sure.
So, kind of on the opposite spectrum of that, though, do you guys have any players or teams that you would consider your rivals over the years?
There's definitely been a few teams throughout the years, like divisionally. I remember like back in the AXBL series, like Greed stuff like stole a couple from us. Like we'd be steamrolling our way through a tournament, and then right at the finals, they would, scout us real well and just change the game plan up and beat us tactically in the finals. And teams like that. I think more recently speaking, I think definitely like Last Camper Fit, probably Fit was definitely like a rival of ours. So it's like World Cup. I mean, they're a Texas team as well, so gotta love them. That was a thing for a minute. We still love those guys, and there's been quite a few teams throughout the years, but I think now we're looking for one. I guess I don't know. I know Heat's had our number a few times recently, so we like their aggressive style, and they're pretty ballistic as well. So I feel like it's always a good matchup.
Yeah, I know. Especially for Paul, who's he knows real well playing against Fit. It seemed like Fit and Notorious were always back and forth, especially during the Division III years, both locally and in the NXL. I remember couple of tournaments where it's like, okay, they're both of you guys are in on Sunday, and then you go up against each other in quarterfinals or semifinals, and it just always seemed.
I know it was a trip because like in those years, like 19, 18, it's like we kind of like grew up the ranks together in a way, with the Fit guys and the Fit program. Always felt like. So yeah, just especially in like 19, you had Kings and Greed, those were seeing like the finals and give us like the hardest matches. Yeah. I don't know. It's cool. Like a couple of those guys are playing with us now. So
definitely. All right. So this next question. So looking to the future, and looking at y'all's roster on PB leagues right now for Chicago. Recently you added Harris Hussein for the last event. He seemed to be a really good addition to y'all. Seemed to work really well with your system, and then you're getting Michael back, and then at least just looking at PB leagues for the time being, it looks like you've added Rene Rodriguez, who he's stayed in the Notorious camp. He was playing with y'all through Division II and semi-pro, but this year he's been on the Austin FSU NXL Europe Pro line, and so it looks like for Chicago the gang is going to be fully back together. So what are your hopes for going into this one?
I'm excited. I know he's on the roster, so that's all I've heard about it so far.
I just know when I gotta go at practice up against like Renee and Tyler and Drew, I man, I got my hands full. So it's good to have Renee back.
Play
like,
with him.
Family,
good guy, like good kid, good head on his shoulders, good guy.
So I don't know, having all those guys back, Mike too. Just
it's exciting.
Yeah, and Harris has been a really good addition. I feel like he's real like misunderstood if you don't know him like personally or like have had a conversation with him. People have what they think from like the internet, and it's see that, but to get to know him like on a personal level, like he's a good dude. He really
Picked him up.
We're all pretty level headed, and I think sometimes we overthink things, and like I don't know, he's good at getting us all like wild up and like bringing that kind of like FU attitude out of us like right then and there, and
sometimes you need a little push,
Yeah, and it's cool. I know he's kind of going through some hard times. This last event, it was cool just like for us to kind of be there to pick him up as he was for us, and it worked out, really good. It's nice having him around. So it's a good fit.
Definitely. And we'll see if you can continue your Sunday appearances going into this one. So real quick for everybody watching live, thank you for tuning in. Now's your last chance to get some questions in the chat. We're getting close to the end of our show. So this next question is brought to us by Get That Shot. Message him on Facebook or Instagram if you need media coverage at the upcoming NXL Chicago event. So for you guys, are there anybody in Texas, either teams, players, brands, projects that have caught your attention lately? Who do you think is someone that deserves more recognition for what they're doing, or maybe they're an up and comer? Just give a shout out to someone here.
I'd like to give a shout out to Max because all the stuff Charles makes is great. I've been having a lot of fun with all that, testing out prototypes and seeing all the customization he's got going on. He seems to be really, really good with that, and he's got really quick turnaround time with that kind of stuff. So, and like custom bandanas and all the shirts and nice pants and all the stuff with our stuff printed on it. It's really nice. Then all the teams that practice at Outlaw, our home field, we always get good looks at those teams, and they all seem to be like steadily improving, and like their hard work is, I think, showing off, and just you can see their continued grind and the amount of effort they put into it, and field as well as their own skill level, and it's good talent pool. So that's who I'm shouting out.
How about you, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, Max is good. I mean, all the homies that, been keeping, staying at it, I'm happy to see them like doing good. Always like the XTPL series or the Houston Paintball series with, James Harden and Richie Tran. I don't know if they're doing it, but when I was doing it, they were kind of pioneers of that, and had a lot of respect for them to, pave the way for that kind of bringing back that tournament series back in Houston, So I participated. We did in some of them, it was a lot of work for them. Yeah, those guys, Max, Charles has been really cool to us, and, is really taking care of us, and, proud, wearing, Max stuff. So it's been good. And, yeah, just like all the people at our fields, it's cool to see everyone motivated and trying to be that next team that goes up the ranks, and to see like groups of dudes like starting to put in years together, and it's paying off, it's really cool.
Yep, y'all paved the way, and now everybody else is like, well, why not us?
Exactly. I mean, I would have never thought, like sitting here like 2 years ago, like thinking we'd be in this position, like it's so surreal,
I knew it would happen.
I mean, we talked about it as like little kids, like
I thought it might take
going semi-pro, and it's like to excel that, it's crazy. And I don't know, like I said, if we can do it, like anyone else can do it, And
also shout out to all the homies in San Antonio. We don't see very often. Love you boys.
Yeah,
every time we get to go down there, it's always a pleasure seeing everybody. So
it is.
Definitely. All right. Let's see. One question in the chat here from Dan Shelley. Yes. Between you two, who's going to win in a one-on-one?
We go pretty toe to toe. We have our days. We've got a running tally. But
I'd say lately he probably, because all the drills he's been putting in. Yeah,
the drills pay off in the little things, but like mentally, it's chess. So you just got to stay sharp. Life. I think it's a pretty even. You
just gotta go out there and send it. Don't let the stare downs get to you. Like
we don't do duels like we used to, but we used to go at it for quite a while in the practice. Just gunfighting, just sets of 5, sets of 7, whatever. Just getting it.
Yeah, one-on-ones are fun.
Yeah, I've seen Paul. Like he's the main guy that I think of whenever it's like, hey, we start the day with one-on-ones, we end the day with one-on-ones. Paul's the guy that I think about. He's always the first one. He's like, all right, who's gonna get it? I'm out here.
Yeah, he's a bit iffy sometimes, but he's actually my favorite paintball player.
Yeah, Paul is. He definitely has the free smoke sign out there. Anytime you want one-on-ones, Paul's out there.
Well, like it.
All right, y'all. So I think that just about does it for our questions here in the chat. I'm scrolling back up, see if I've missed anything here. See. Oh, here's one here. Do you got any? This is from Brandon Ortega of BEM Raps. Do you guys have a memorable experience with any sponsors throughout the years?
Well, I think I think this. Yeah, there's quite a few. We have quite a few. I think the ones that stick out to me, not because they're most recent, but because they're probably the most positive, was working probably with Virtue and Maxed. They've just been like the most accommodating, and they've been the most receptive. I've never had anybody be like, "Hey, if our pants are ripping somewhere, can you show us where they're ripping? How do you think we can improve this product?" I've never really had anybody ask me those kind of questions, and having knowing that somebody might be changing something a little bit to help people like you who might slide a lot or dive a lot, really means a lot, because I know that gear is going to be better for me, and just TLX with the guns and Outlaw with the field. It's all been great, eggs and everything, powerhouse. It's just been a great experience the whole time. So I think those are probably the most memorable ones recently, just because they've been so positive and so supportive. Really, like you, Paul.
Yeah, the Virtue dudes are cool. Like they've been and getting to talk to them at events and stuff. It's
They're
been
cool
nice.
dudes as well.
Yeah,
Very art of war, like it.
All right, y'all.
it's cool to get a jersey every event. Like
And Charles is actually like back in the AX when they had the XBLs and XBL lights back in shit, I don't know, 2012 or 13. He was filming us down there playing with Notorious. So it's really cool to have somebody with that kind of history as well, being able to sponsor us and do his own thing and be able to help support us and give back to us and not just be, like a passive sponsor who's just kind of there. It's really great working with somebody that you have that history with as well, and a local Texas guy. It's great.
Yep, Charles is definitely he's been around a long time. I remember working with Charles back when he was with Social Paintball and he was doing the stuff for the Texas Longhorns. So he's been around.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. One question in the chat. Let's see. Aussie Boy, he asked, "Where is Jared?" You can actually, Aussie Boy, if you go back to episode 34, you can check out Jared's episode.
We'll get Jared next time if we have to.
We'll get a whole thing going with the boys.
Combat roaches.
combat roaches.
All right, so I think that just about does it for our episode. This last question is brought to us by Gel Stewart's brand Compete. Message him on Facebook or Instagram. Mention In the Pits for 10% off of your order of soft goods. So, guys, thank you so much for your time. Do you have any last shout outs or things you'd like to say before we sign off?
Just grind, drink water. It's hot out there. Peace in the Middle East. I don't know. That's the gist of it. Drink water.
Yeah, for sure. I would say thank you to Kayla and like my mom for like the support and just like all my friends that have been there, homies, and just like my teammates. I truly think like, we have a really awesome team, and like if everyone continues to like buy in and put in the work, like it's gonna come. Like another season or two, like we'll be winning tournaments. So I just really hope like, everyone just keeps putting in the work and looking forward. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, it takes a lot of work, but it's so rewarding whenever you finally get that first place.
For sure.
All right, y'all. So I think that does it for our show. Paul, Ty, thank you so much for joining me on this one, and everybody online, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to go.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, Christian. It was fun.
Really good, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been looking forward to this one for a while, and finally it feels good to get the boys on and just feature kind of your journey. And like, obviously you're the newest pro team in the NXL, and it's been going pretty well, I think. So just getting to highlight your story and show it off to everybody else out there that's listening and thinking, hey, why not me?
Yeah, not means a lot, and I hope like our testimony like encourages guys to keep doing it.
Just takes hard work and discipline, so you just got to keep at it, keep withering away, do a little bit more each day.
For sure. All right, so that does it for the show. Be sure to go follow Paul at Paulinus_Hubertus27 on Instagram. And then go follow Ty at
You want to see some cool stream
THB.32.
videos? Thank you, Sasha.
Yeah, go follow Sasha. What's his, is he still at, is he doing all
Papa
this?
Sash.
Is still at Papa
Sash.
Sash? Okay. He didn't open Vault
Shouldn't
Instagram or
be.
anything like that. Sasha's got like 20 Instagram pages now.
I love it. Doing God's work.
Yeah, for sure. So, what other guests would you all like to see on the show? Be sure to leave a comment down below. While you're at it, hit that subscribe button. The show goes live weekly here on youtube.com/@inthepitspaintballpodcast, and recordings are posted to YouTube, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify the next day. Shout out to my partner and sponsors, to your subscribers on Patreon: FU Athletics, Get That Shot, Paintball Kumite, Compete, Bem Wraps, Skull Monkeys Paintball, Hydra, XDPL Events, Uno's Jerky, Mariachi Aguilas de Oro, and Pod Runners Union. We will see you guys next week for episode 64. And stay tuned for the September schedule. Got some things in the works. I'm just finalizing a few episodes, but hopefully if everything ends up working out, it's going to be kind of breaking new ground for the show. So definitely stay tuned for that announcement. So Paul, Ty, thank you so much.
Likewise. We'll see you.